Bones are amazing things. They hold us up. They support us. They make us strong. But bones have other uses. In the past, bones were thrown by diviners, seeking out the mysteries of the future. Now the bones are cubes, made of plastic or resin, but they still reveal things to us. As they fall from our fingers and rattle across the table, the story becomes clear. Welcome to Bone Throwers Theater, an RPG actual play podcast.
Hello and welcome back to Bone Throwers Theater. This is Johnny, commenting about my play as Chime North.
This is Aaron. I usually play Sam Feluge.
This is Jeff. I usually play Jerr Lan.
This is Jeremy, mostly playing Julian, Illix, and mostly confused.
This is Ellie, usually playing Archi.
But today played
Archie and Archie and Archie.
Building and Instance 1 and Instance 2 and Instance 3.
I'm Jordan, and I'm the one who has to make narrative sense out of everybody's impulses.
This was totally unexpected.
Yes.
Totally unexpected.
This was probably the most gonzo
Bonanzas.
It was a bonanza of insane ideas.
I don't even. I feel like I failed you guys as a GM for not being descriptive enough on this. I don't know how I could have done it any differently. Because Ellie and I came into this knowing that she was going to try and kill Bear. We just didn't realize it was going to spin out of control like that.
Every time I would be in the right place at the right time, you guys were like, nah, let me screw it up for you.
Well, honestly, I knew something was fishy at the start. And honestly, at the start, I was like, is everybody going to be out by the end of this session just out to kill Julian? Because that's what it felt like. It felt like Julian's going to die. It's like, now, for some reason, Archie's going to kill Julian again? What?
Chime was not against Julian at all today.
Sam's only kind of against Julian.
Shade is, though.
Shade is.
Shade is very against.
Which is a very interesting question, because that whole note thing, I'm wondering how that came about without Shade's knowledge.
Shade can't read.
Ah.
None of the elementals can read.
Ah.
We have gone over the fact that all of the elemental language has been symbology.
Nice.
There has been no text. So, the elementals can't read.
That's not 100% true.
Well,
I mean, they can't read without programming.
Those aren't the elementals, that's the androids.
Yes.
The elementals themselves can't read.
And it might actually be a sensory issue because they experience reality in a different manner.
Sure. Because we've talked about them being on another plane or something like that, or another
right.
out of phase, or however it was said at the time.
Yeah, well, they're non-corporeal.
No, but they are.
Kind of.
Somehow, because the androids have figured out a way to contain them.
Yes.
Do you like the idea of we talked about that, and it was introduced last session, but I think it was really expanded upon this time. Like the whole reason that the coding got corrupted in Archie was because Archie's core had been cut open.
And a foreign
I didn't
elemental inserted.
And
I
not just
didn't
a,
quite catch on to that.
not just a
personally,
foreign elemental, but a foreign elemental that was infected with the root virus.
Was it infected with the root virus?
but It was infected with some kind of something.
So Choler was infected with the root virus?
Yeah.
I didn't... Where did that evidence come from? Because that's...
Well, it's inside baseball.
Okay.
Oh,
But I mean that
sorry.
So no, that's fine. Like the whole one of the things that Aaron kind of established tonight.
I figured that was the case anyways, was that Tor was infected.
So Aaron kind of established a bit of backstory tonight that is kind of important in tying that all together.
Yeah, I saw that the root... And I was like, okay, the root virus has been around for much longer. It's not like a totally brand new thing. And did Del Linden actually bring the root virus to North Belisara?
He brought it to the council. And
how we figure out the rest of that, we don't really know. But
Vester is part of the council. Vester has a very strong interest in the success of his son. His son infiltrated Healing Hands. started working to foment revolt at Vester's.
Sun infiltrated healing hands.
Remember
Well,
at the very beginning?
Fire and Breaks was part of Healing Hands.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
So it all comes together.
It's just how we actually reveal
Or discover.
or discover as characters, because as players,
Speaking of discovering as characters, you like how Chime kept asking about what happened to Archie,
Right.
and y'all just kept all of you independently skirting around the issue of what exactly it was.
But the way it was said, we didn't have to do much effort in skirting around.
Yeah,
right?
Because Julian answered your question 100% truthfully.
Oh, and that's
because
just it.
Serrani had already said that the problem with Archie's elemental was something completely different.
Yeah, and that's just it. As Chime, I could only ask questions pertaining to what Chime already understood.
And you have a very strict interpretation of how to play a character.
Yeah.
And so because of that, and because of Chime's psychological issues with being direct, you couldn't ask in a direct manner.
Yeah.
I think it's very fair to say that Chime has some psychological issues in
yeah.
terms of being direct and actually asserting himself as a person.
Mm-hmm.
Although,
and it's one thing
I
he's
did
working
like
on.
the comment that Chime came out of, and it came out of left field because it's very not like Chime. Like, can I just shoot him?
Yeah.
There was somebody that said something that was quite annoying, and Chime was the first one that piped up and was like, I just want to shoot him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the technicians that were just not being helpful at all.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So the big surprise for me was that, and Julian said it, that the problem with Archie was beyond the elemental.
Yeah, and that was because his containment had been breached. And
So the whole coding virus was totally unexpected.
Yeah.
Not just as Julian, but as a player, I was not thinking that was going to be a thing that we would be the main focus, especially what we were fighting.
Yeah,
It was more of a programming issue than a...
I've loved what Ellie has done with Archie from the very beginning.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because Ellie has... You've brought life to a character who's very multifaceted and very diverse, who has moments of sheer, pleasure and whimsy. And then, as it's gone on and we've discovered that he's got an illness, you've played that really well.
Yeah.
And I'm really amazed at your role-playing ability on that.
There was one moment, and I know, Aaron, you picked up on it too, because the thought crossed, I think, both of our minds at the same time. Julian wasn't in the scene, but Sam was in the scene, where it was like, would Sam pick up on that? Because there was something that the technician said that was the tone of voice, the mannerism, and what you said was like, if Julian was in the room, Julian would have been like, that's Archie.
And I don't know if it
100%.
Like the use of the word
impatience.
kid, or
It was
I
all right, fine.
Yeah.
And then it was like, whoa.
It was definitely
that was very
impatience of Archie.
I picked up on it, and that's why I made a roll to see, did Sam notice anything here?
Yeah.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
it's something I was debating with over here. That it took me a long time today to play out the characters today because I was trying to make it to an end goal.
Yeah.
But I know that when I was focused on interacting with Bear, I was like, do I let that slip or do I not? Because I want certain things to happen, and if they catch on too soon before I'm even near Bear, then the same thing will happen where they just take him away from me again.
That's interesting. Because there was at one point, like I said at the beginning, when I thought it was Archie's goal to actually kill Julian. Because you were we need to find Julian. Julian's the only one that can help us with this. I was like, what can Julian help with the androids? Absolutely nothing. Archie just wants to find Julian to kill him.
Well, the other thing is, in my mind, where I haven't even said it to you, you know what my evil goal is.
Yes.
But we also got to remember, I'm still playing Archie.
Yeah.
This is still Archie.
Yeah.
And remember, his last words were Illix. There could be a fight going on in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that there probably is, to a certain degree, because one of the things that I've determined is that all of before you went on your mission, the preserve androids do backups. So what they can try to do is see how much of your memory is corrupted and try and pull that out and reintegrate your memories with your backup to try and get you back into a more accurate position. But at least you will have some kind of memory of your experience with this group. You know, and I'm sure Archie will have some regrets, but I think that Archie will be more than glad that he was a part of this group. And that's kind of my end goal for Archie.
Yeah, I think at this point, I can already tell you that he already finds himself enjoying being in the group, but he's that type of character, he's not going to admit it.
Right.
He's not going to. I think the first time he actually admitted it was saying Illix, like actually reaching out for help, showing that he actually depends on somebody else besides himself.
Yeah. And honestly, the two characters that I have the most plans for are Archie and Jerr. I've talked to Jeff offline about my plans for Jerr as well.
I would also like to point out, like, the whole end goal today, where Archie loosely, was after Bear. It was not my idea. I've been going home and telling my husband every single time what's been going on here, and he always gets upset. He's like, "You never play this well with mine." Well, that's a whole other thing. But he's just like, he's listening to everything I'm bringing home, and he's just like, "What if you do this?" And I look over to my husband. He's like, got this evil grin on his face. He's like, I was like, "But that would be horrible." He's like, "Yeah."
Well, you know what you should do is you should drop the feed into his podcatcher on his phone and say, "Just catch up."
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. I mean, the way I describe, it takes me usually like 30 to 40 minutes to get home sometimes.
Yeah.
So I'll be on the way home. I'll be like, "So this and this happened, and this and this," and he's like, "Oh, I see how it is. You like to play with them, not me. It's cool."
We're better players.
Because he always gets amazed. He's like, you role play? Like, what? When I entered this group, I didn't have a clue how to role play. So it's very interesting and heartwarming tonight to hear some of you say that I have developed this character so well.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I find a lot of role players have no clue how to actually role play.
There's role playing. There's different
D&D role playing, and then there's
different ways to role
storytelling
play.
role playing.
Role play, as the definition of role play, is you're actually playing the role, and not just rolling dice.
Yeah, and there's a lot of books on how to do that part of it well. I always talk about Play Unsafe by Graham Walmsley, and he's the guy who actually wrote Cthulhu Dark. So that's a good place to start. Robin Laws is also, and Robin Laws is a well-regarded game designer, but he's written some really good books about the different types of gamers and where everybody falls. And I want to play this game at some point, but he's written a game that's based off of tracking fiction, like the narrative arc of stories. When he wrote the game, he used Dr. No, Hamlet, and I can't remember the third one, as like narrative archetypes, so to speak. And so it's an interesting game, and I at some point would like to play it. But yes, I think that you're doing a fantastic job as someone who seemed like you were fairly new to like D20 playing.
No.
Before you joined our group, but you enjoyed it.
Oh no, yeah, for sure. Like without me even, I mean, if I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't have been talking about it the next day, and then Jeremy over here wouldn't have been like from his desk
from across the room.
I
was like, I heard something like Dungeons and Dragons. I was like,
that the nerd radar went off.
Yeah.
So
literally, was that time that you had been talking about Dungeons and Dragons, was that like right after your first time playing, or
no? Okay. So I played for 3 years now, 4 years, almost 4 years playing D20, and the problem with that group, and I've discussed with him, is that nobody knows how to role play, and they're all our age, so they don't have the experience that you do. So I feel like I've gotten into this group that knows sort of what they're doing, and you kind of carried me along. I don't think I can take all the credit with this role playing. I truly think it's the group that's already been built here.
So, I mean, like, full disclosure, I didn't start role playing until I met Johnny. Mm-hmm. And I was like 27 years old. Aaron didn't seriously start role playing until he joined our group, and that was at the
Yeah.
beginning of
It's
Angel's
a
Flight.
matter of playing with people who are willing to have an open imagination.
Yeah.
To do more than just roll dice.
And
Yeah.
also to, when you have other players to bounce off of,
And that's
to react
Yeah.
to what you're doing.
Like, I did role-playing games, but I would say probably the first time I got heavy into the role-play
Role-playing.
side was with both Earth Theater guest for a time, Mike Kharkov, when he did the Shadowrun campaign, and it was like, spend some time building your backstory for your characters. And then I latched onto that character, and I was like, oh, I'm going to do this for all my characters, because this is so much more fun.
Yeah.
And-
To actually
yeah.
have an idea
Yeah.
of what this character's going to do at every
Yes.
moment.
And that's one reason why I love the 3x3 is
Yes.
because it is the absolute basis of everything that we do as a campaign, as a role
Like-
It directs the decisions that we make through our characters.
Yeah.
Loosely, but
Loosely.
it does.
One of the things that I kicked myself over when I figured out that I was doing it wrong was the fact that I wasn't, as a GM, writing 3x3s for the factions. And when I realized that, it was last year. And I remember messaging you guys, and it's like, guys, I've been doing something wrong. Because I've been kind of pantsing it on that end of things. And now I feel like I have a much better idea of where the characters are coming from. And talking about where the fire drakes came from. When I first mentioned that they came from Healing Hands, that was a verbal slip up.
And now it's canon.
And it's canon.
But
Yeah.
it's so much more interesting.
because I built it. I
added it into the
I
story.
spun it out of a
Yeah.
verbal slip up, and I ran with it, and I made it work. But it was a lot of effort to make it work, rather than building a 3x3 from the very beginning.
Right. Like, also, on another thing that I think we commented on off air, I made the comment that one of the theories I was thinking about is that Redneck's Near actually formed an alliance with the androids, which is why there are so many sleeper androids in the city
Mhm.
Yeah.
trying to help out Healing Hands
Yeah.
and
I love that
combat
idea.
the council.
That's always been an idea of mine. Is that Healing Hands and the Animal Preserve have actually been working together.
Now, I forget where we went on a microscope. Who was the war between that we came up with for this era that we're in?
It was-
Well, it was all three have been going back and forth.
Yeah, I
The
know.
three big ones have been
Yeah.
going back and forth. This is when it starts to shift from countries to
Factions.
actual people groups and
Yeah.
factions.
I think our actions in
Consiglio
Yeah.
Kinda set
Started
that
off.
off.
Yeah.
set that off.
Set it
Well, they had
off.
already started off because there was already the riots in Consiglio
Yeah.
Yeah.
a few years before then,
And then the riots returned intensely.
as we were fleeing the city.
North.
I
Because
thought it was supposed to
North.
be a war between
Commons and proxies.
proxies. And then also
And innates helped the proxies.
because they they
their
would be-
powers are related.
they knew they would come next.
Okay, yeah, I was
I mean-
I was just asking because I'm like trying to figure this out. Like, we established that there's a large number of not large, but there's a number of commons in the Animal Preserve, which is run by proxies, essentially androids.
Right, but by definition, technically the androids are a little bit different
Yes,
than
they are a
proxies.
little
They
bit
aren't
different.
proxies by definition.
Yeah.
Right.
They can pass as proxies, but they are something a little bit different.
Yeah.
As far as countries being at war, I don't know, but Jordan, you've said several times you've said the war with Centauro.
Mhm.
So
Well, Marneline and Centauro were the big ones in the Civil War that Redneck's near.
Next rear.
Alexander Turing.
we gotta slip that into the when you used to work with Redneck's rear.
The redneck's rear.
Let's go ahead and talk points.
before that, I would say, Jordan, you mentioned that you felt like you didn't do a good job with the description. I thought the descriptions in the Animal Preserve were
Yeah.
fantastic.
For
Yeah.
sure.
I
Oh gosh, like the descriptions of the cyberpunk stuff was freaking hard.
well,
Like,
not just
because
that.
I was floundering for some kind of reference point.
Yeah.
The cyberpunk stuff, and then there was this sort of almost technologically advanced but at the same time, not like you're living in this quasi-island paradise
So
kind of
it
thing.
reminded
with
me a
open
lot
huts
of,
and,
some Star Trek episodes.
Yes.
It reminded me a lot of that.
But I don't know. I thought it was.
Yeah, it was good.
I don't know. Nothing really happened in that, but I visually see the dormitory
Yeah.
Right.
area. Nothing actually happened. People went there, set some stuff down, and left. But that image, I don't know, of the alcoves, circular room as a common area, alcoves with curtains, and that's just
Yeah, I pictured it perfectly.
Yeah.
and sort of open walls
I
that
bet-
you can shut.
I bet you any of us could draw the picture and we'd have the exact same thing in mind.
Yeah. And also the change in climate and the change in scenery.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I was thinking of one thing you mentioned was like, oh yeah, they can be shut when it rains. And I'm like, oh, shut when it rains. Julian has never seen rain.
It's always been snow.
If there was any precipitation, it would have been snow.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just gave a very visual to what's going on.
And I wonder if it's snow until it hits like a certain part where it's the air is heated enough, and then it turns it back into rain.
Yeah.
You know,
Probably.
because of all the thermal engineering that's been
Yeah, it
done.
very well could be that way.
So it's a very interesting pocket of the world.
Yeah.
And it really is a bit of a, and I hope you don't, the wireless technology that was introduced with the helmet, I'm trying to tie the technology in with the...
I thought about that.
Yeah.
The helmet, I had a theory, and it just never has come back up. If it ever comes back up, this would be interesting. Because I was trying to figure out why, and it sort of halfway came up because you said there were animals that look like Bear's teddy bear.
Yes.
So that could be a reason that, he just as a comfort to home. But I was thinking, especially since the androids were being sent to Consiglio on missions, like as essentially spies to do certain things, that the androids sort of knew the level of technology that the council had, and knew that there were ways that the council could actually track or find these androids. So I was thinking that there was some sort of jamming device in that bear,
That would make sense.
which is
like
why he always felt the need to have it.
each android has something special they were issued.
And here's the theory: if it ever came up again, Bear's programming on leaving the city, he stuffed the bear inside the helmet,
Yeah, he did.
Hey.
just so it couldn't. If it ever came back on, it wouldn't be tracked.
I like that.
Which, now that we're in a place that has this wireless technology, I wonder if the helmet will power back on.
No one's looked.
Dun, dun, dun.
I know. We haven't had a chance to look.
Right. We haven't had a chance to do a lot of things that I thought
So,
we would have had.
so let's go ahead and talk character points.
Yeah.
All right.
Instead of 10, I'm going to give everybody 12.
Yes.
You guys earned it tonight. You were throwing those little class beats, those fake points around right and left. You always,
So Johnny came in, and the first thing out of his mouth is, "My goal is to spend all my fate points."
I get
You only
spent
use
one.
And I actually had a goal to spend none of them.
And you spent all.
And I spent all of
I
them again.
ruined that.
Yes, you
Ruined
did.
that.
You tempted me, and I was like, fine.
If I had actually made it to the fight, I would have spent mine.
Because my goal was to do something to gain an extra one and not spend any of them, so I would start with an extra one next time
Try and build a bank.
and try and build a bank.
For who advanced their character the most, if I can make a GM pointer here, I think Jerr deserves a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yes.
because we pushed him to do something with his elementals, one, and it spoke.
That, but also,
Congratulations.
he also specifically was like, he specifically went after his goals this time.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm here to learn
I'm here
about
to
how to
heal,
heal
I'm here-
elementals.
I'm going to use my axe in fighting. I'm going to tackle things.
And then,
Yeah.
yet again, all of Julian's goals got sidetracked by something that came up that was not part of it. That's sort of been the par for the course for Julian, is like, all right, all these things, other things come to the forefront and push his main goal off. But there was a logical and plausible reason why he was able to do that, because he went through the hospital facility, and I don't know, Katari was doing better. So he's like, all right, Katari's doing better. Let's take care of this thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jerr. I would say Jerr too.
Jerr.
I think that
well done to you, Jerr.
elemental speaking was a big one, and it was fantastic.
Thanks, guys.
It caught all of us by surprise.
And the way it was played out.
Yes. Oh, it's very well played out. The whole elemental speaking part.
And I like it because, well, one, we have some player knowledge that no one else in the group, including Jerr, doesn't know, is that part of the reason for it not speaking maybe there's real resistance, like it never wanted to be bonded with Jerr in the first place.
Right.
So
and Jerr never wanted to be bonded with it.
Well, yes. But I like it that it was Jerr, you convinced the elemental to speak.
Yeah.
Rather than making it so difficult to communicate. You recognize what was going on.
Well, yeah. It's been a few times of Julian trying to communicate to the elemental, and I recognized it for what it was at this point. And I was like, just get it over with.
And it's this is
Stop playing a guessing game.
essentially a hostile environment for this elemental too. So
200 years of hostile environment.
No, not Jerr.
Oh.
The animal preserve.
Yeah.
That's a hostile, because for whatever reason, Jerr's elemental is a subjugator.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Julian did throw that out there, too. And I saw Jeff's look when I said that. And I was like, yeah, well, there's two others that are subjugators as well.
Well, Jerr never thought of it that way because we just...
Up until recently, I don't think either of the elementals that are part of the group would have thought of it that way.
Right.
I don't think I don't know about Jerr's because that one's a little more close enough, but I don't think that Sam considers...
No.
Or Shade considers himself a subjugator.
No.
Shade seems more like Shade is Shade and is going to do his thing and doesn't think he's a part of a group.
And the differentiation lies within the mindset of the animal preserve more than anything.
Oh, I like that.
It's the coexisters are the ones creating the difference.
The division.
Yeah.
Really?
That makes sense. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
And, I made comments like, are they truly coexisters or are they prisoners? Because who created the first android and powered it? It was powered by a human.
No.
Putting
apparently humans, we established before that androids have been long around before humans were the first ones that built one.
Somehow they figured out how to do this themselves.
Yes.
But why? I mean, maybe for all we know, that the whole goal was to infiltrate human society at the beginning, and
the way Serrani put it was in order for elementals to have a on the same level interaction with humanity.
Which Serrani? The one that was inside of Bear?
The one that was inside of Bear.
The one who also is powered by an air elemental?
But wasn't powered by air elemental at the time.
But if Serrani is powered by an air elemental, in Serrani's base state, does that mean that Serrani's attitude and personality is compatible with the air elemental?
Yeah, does the personality come from the elemental or from the programming?
Both, I would assume.
But also, Serrani, and here's another variable to throw into the mix, Serrani's program was put into a different model. Is that model the one that's built for the air elemental, and Serrani's old model was built for a different elemental?
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Well,
That's a good question.
so that was actually...
Because you said it looked the same but younger.
Yes.
Something like that.
Yeah, not as old.
So, can you trust anything that Serrani has ever said?
Can you, by very nature, mistrust all air elementals? That's rather speciest.
I mean, that's been kind of the running thing, is that air
I
elementals
am rather
are,
specious.
Air elementals are known to be disingenuous, deceitful, and is that in itself not deceitful to know that I'm deceitful?
So the question is, can I...
Okay.
I like
hold
you to know,
on.
so
Hold
you
on.
know that I'm not
The
lying.
way you put it, because that was very, almost like Jack Sparrow kind of thing. It's like, because the honest man you can trust to be always dishonest. Kind of.
Yes. Yeah.
That actual kind of style of play and the ways the characters interacted this session felt very much like that second and third sequel of Pirates of the Caribbean, where the allegiances are changing left and right, and you don't know who's with who. Those are kind of things, because you had the note that was passed to Julian that is Sam giving Julian a heads up of what Shade wants to do.
Yeah.
And it was like they're switching back and forth. It was like these allegiances are going left and right. No one knows who's together and who's actually working with. That's what it felt like to me, was very Pirates.
Another Pirates of the Caribbean moment. One of my favorite moments in the third movie was when Jack Sparrow is on the ship in the middle of the desert.
That's the best scene.
It's so great. Everybody in the theater, when I saw it, was like, "What is this?" And I'm like, "This is amazing."
I love that scene.
Yeah, that was my favorite part.
And that's what, talking about it now, that's what Archie reminded me of.
All the different
Jack Sparrows on the ship. So anyway, that's a fun little reference.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and talk about best role playing.
I truly enjoyed I wish I could nominate you because of the way you play Bear in the this is this and this one goes
a little kid excited about the animals.
Yeah.
That was so much fun. And I did it just to annoy you.
You know why I like Bear?
Did.
Like role playing as Bear, because it's, I don't know, there's something about that character.
There's a sense of innocence to the character,
and you can be as goofy and weird as you want.
Yeah,
like when, that part where you were like, put the boa constrictor down, but I've got these in my hands. How am I going to do it when I got this? I was like, that's my kids arguing about not doing something. But I've got this, and it's like, then put it down and do it.
Like,
think through the steps that you have to get to the end goal.
Yeah.
You truly reached me as a player, not even the character themselves. You reached me as a player thinking, I'm going to strangle him.
My favorite part was like, I need to pee. And then going into the bathroom. Singing the alphabet song.
That was good.
Kids do that type of thing. But, yes, other than me.
I kind of liked Aaron when he's playing the note and everything. I thought that was clever.
The flashback.
And the flashback, you basically ran that yourself.
So
I thought that was pretty good.
The flashback is something that Jordan actually wanted me to do that at the
wanted
last session.
I wanted it to be a part of the Sam focused.
I didn't see any way to do that flashback without it taking up a very large amount of time at that point, the way we had talked about doing it. And I like the fact that it fit more into this, in that there was a little bit more context.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, the placement of where that backdrop started to come in, when this actual group is outside the building, and Sam's like, yeah, you don't want to go in there, kind of thing, came right after some of the Julian realization that Shade is up to something.
Shade is shady?
Shade is...
Well, the real Slim Shady, please.
To Julian, obviously Shade is up to something more shady than just...
More than usual.
Normal Shade stuff. So part of it was like, why does Shade want Julian to go into that building?
And at that point, Sam and Shade are they're like, okay, whatever, let's get this taken care of.
It's like, we shouldn't go in. You two, you should be fine to go into that building.
Yeah.
Why don't you go into that building? I was like, why does Shade want...
As a player, I was seeing the same thing from your point of view. But as a character, I have no reason to be suspicious of Sam.
Yeah.
You're the only one.
You really are the only one.
You broke into his house.
He broke into my house too, but
Yeah, but you're a little less assertive.
That didn't even cross my mind, because Sam and Shade are were familiar with this.
At that point, they were frightened.
Yes, and it was very much like flashbacks,
which is what really turned Julian off of that idea that Sam and Shade were trying to set Julian up to go into that building, when it was said somewhere that Shade actually is saying something to Sam and seems frightened. to go into that building. Or he's like, not again, not again, not again. I was like, all right, Shade's really afraid to go in that building. This is not a trick.
Right.
Yeah. Ellie had.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Ellie rolled with the role playing. I just take
Is
the
that-
building and everybody else around. And you connected to something? Guess what? I have control of you now.
That was a lot.
That was a lot.
And then you had multiple instances in the same place at the same time, trying to fight the same.
like
character.
I
One kid.
I was curious when you said 2 of the instances went into the building and were just trying to run towards the back door. I was like, what are they trying to do?
Yeah.
I was like, what's going on? Because they weren't like going in there to fight anything. They were just in there. It looked like they were just trying to run through to get to something else. I was like, all right, what else is in there?
I think that they were trying
after.
They were trying to
to head off there.
head bear off.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Cut them off.
Don't give me that much credit. I'm not that creative.
Well, not knowing that the goal was actually to kill Bear
Right.
Yeah.
at the
Yeah.
time. Like, that wasn't evident.
Ah.
Honestly, I didn't know that was the goal until you said that was the goal.
I knew you wouldn't want to kill Bear, but I thought you were also after everybody, basically.
I mean, technically, yeah.
Bear first, everybody else second.
Yeah, when Sarani Not Sarani was like, Bear, come back into the building.
Yeah.
Really come back into the building.
Yeah.
And it was I did not think that it was a death thing. I thought it was like a corruption thing. Like there was a reason that you wanted
yeah,
to
I
take
almost
over
want to
Bear.
corrupt him.
Yeah, that's
too.
what I thought at that point.
Yeah. That was a point in time
I'm
where I was
also
truly...
curious out of game, like, why kill Bear?
I think that's a very good question.
Why kill Bear?
I don't know if I should say until next time.
Okay.
Yeah. I was gonna say
Fair
if you don't want to reveal that, I wouldn't. I mean that's
Fair enough.
That's something that
It's plot
when
line.
I told you why when I said to my husband, I was like, "That's dark," and then he explained to me why. He didn't just say yeah. He said a reason why.
It's plot line.
Yeah.
Plotline, yeah.
And it's sort of
And
we talked. The reason I voiced in the question now because we've talked about it before because it seemed odd to Julian that Bear would be so afraid of somebody who he had trusted like so much.
Mhm.
Like since they met up with the group,
right.
Bear showed no distrust at all for Archie.
No.
And then all of a sudden is
One thing I mentioned to Ellie between episodes was she's like, I want Julian to witness it. And I'm like, I finally said to her directly, I'm like, you realize this is the second child that he's attached to that gets killed in this? You're like,
And that was the other thing. I was just like, yes, then let's go. And we went back inside with that information.
his daughter.
Yeah.
I would almost call third because
He wasn't really attached to Abel.
I mean,
attached.
he connected with Abel,
Okay, but not
like
attached.
on the speaking to on the elemental level, but it wasn't like
It wasn't like
let me
Abel
take
and
care of
Sam.
this kid.
Because I remember you trying to keep Sam away from Abel. I just assumed.
Well,
That was just.
That's
was-
just
it
because
was-
of
Sam.
It was just
Especially-
all right. This is Gaspar's Neri's kid. You want to take control of him? I don't know if I trust you to actually take care of this kid.
He would have been fine.
Nope.
That was just
Nope.
being a good person.
That wasn't. I want to be responsible for this kid.
Okay.
That was trying to earn a good citizen award.
Yeah, but since Julian brought up, since they left the city, Julian had kind of been like, all right, Bear,
Yeah, he's been
tag
mentoring
along
Bear.
with me. Let's figure out how to do this stuff together. And I just thought that would be cool, just because I played both characters at one point.
Yeah.
But I'm playing Bear is so much fun. So much
it's-
fun.
It's refreshing sometimes because, like, most of the times when you're doing NPCs, there are characters that are suspicious or angry or have a problem of some sort, and Bear is just winsomely happy.
Mm-hmm.
He's Winnie the Pooh in android form.
Mhm.
So anyway, best role playing.
Yeah, this is a tough one. Everybody has
This is
very
a tough
good
one.
stuff.
Everybody today, honestly.
I would say Ellie due to difficulty
Me too.
of
Yeah.
that.
Me too. Having done it,
Yeah.
It was.
I've done it before, Joe. Huh?
I think what challenged me today wasn't just the number of them, but because I was trying to reach that end goal so hard, and you all were throwing wrenches at it.
well, not just the wrenches. I like how you voiced it just a few minutes ago, saying that you were trying to role play as Archie, but keep Archie contained enough so that it wasn't evident that it was Archie, but you still let some stuff slip that was just enough for it to be like, oh, this is Archie.
And that was especially
definitely.
like when Archie corrupted Serrani.
Yeah.
2.0.
I almost one detail I will say is in my mind it's the vibe of the movie Get Out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Where he's watching the whole thing, and there's sometimes where you can see a sense of that person.
Yeah.
Almost like there was a scene in there where the maid was being controlled by somebody else, but you could see a single tear come down her face from another emotion. But she has this huge grin on her face.
And the guy who's running through the fields deadpan.
Right.
Because he doesn't want to run, but the possessor wants to run.
Right.
Another good one to watch for some inspiration, just of how to do that kind of thing is Split.
Yeah.
Split is
Yes. Yes, I agree. That is a good one.
Split is good.
Splice, however, terrible movie.
No, please.
Oh, wait,
Terrible movie.
oh, that's the one with David Hewlett.
Yes, but Slice.
What about Spice?
Slice was a homemade movie.
Oh. All right, so
Ellie gets
Ellie.
that point. Food. You guys brought all the
food.
sugar today.
Yeah, we had.
Today was a sugar day.
I almost made cookies yesterday. Almost, but I just could not.
This morning, I was finishing up my snack, and I literally almost texted everybody. I'm hoping you're bringing your A game, or else no one will compete. And I'm really glad I didn't, because they were awesome.
It was
Like, the
always
snacks were really awesome.
It was already a high game.
We already established last two sessions we played. Aaron, what did you need to do to win point? Is like, I'm bringing this. I don't care. It's not going to stand a chance, and it'll be a landslide. That's what you did the last two times.
The last two times.
The last one really shocked me compared to the kebabs and the potato. Come on, man.
Potato was boss.
I was actually literally talking to my wife the other day. I'm like, I don't remember what I brought last time.
That's how insignificant it was.
Because I know 2 times ago was the peanut butter bars, and then it was
the kimchi fried rice.
Yeah,
oh, that's right.
I swear.
It was
All right.
good.
So Johnny brought like homemade like Snickers type thing.
Mm-hmm.
I was disappointed in the caramel in it because it was just too hard.
It tasted really
Tasted
good.
really
Tasted
good.
really good.
It was
But-
crunchy.
Ellie tried to go with the come from behind victory and brought some new flavor Takis.
In the Oreos.
And
Oreos.
Peanut butter
I'll-
pie Oreos.
I made these cinnamon chip cheesecake cookies.
Oh, those were awesome.
Jeff made this orange custard pie.
It was good for what it was.
You're not a big fan of orange custard, though, or orange.
No, but that's saying something then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And Aaron brought meringue
meringue cups with lemon curd.
Just very good.
So it was like
And
It was
cola
very-
and coconut. I just want to make
So
sure
it's
that's out there.
Okay. Yeah.
it was like
very
crust-free lemon meringue pie.
Yeah.
And then I'm not eligible, but I brought cheese.
And
it
honey.
Got Bear's vote.
Yeah,
And mead.
and mead.
You would have had my vote with that.
Yeah, it was the cheese was smoked
cheese.
horseradish onion. That was so good.
That was very good.
We went to the farmer's market this morning, and I also had the pineapple bread. I don't even think I got it.
No, we
I don't
didn't
think
get
we
into
did.
that
We
one.
cut into it?
No,
Because
That is-
we're all so sugared up.
Yeah, pretty
I
much.
guess I could take that home and enjoy that guilt-free tomorrow.
yeah.
It's actually sugar-free.
Ooh.
It's vegan.
Nice.
This guy, he is the best gluten-free baker. My wife has a gluten allergy, and this guy is literally the best like confection gluten-free baker that we've had. He makes the most amazing whoopie pies. They're better than real ones.
Hands down. Pumpkin whoopie pies, lemon whoopie pies, your regular
Chocolate chip cookie ones.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'll bring them next time. Not as a treat, not as a snack, not as a submission, just for everyone to try.
That means it's going to win because you're just not bringing it.
We literally go to the farmer's market to get these whoopie pies.
Yes,
That's
yes.
the whole reason we go to the farmer's market. And the funny thing is, there's a regular baker right next to it, and the line's around the corner, and he kind of gets left off to the side. And I've never tried their stuff, so I can't knock it. But I would bet dollars to donuts. His confections are better than the regular bakers.
I believe so.
So yeah, out of the eligible stuff.
My vote is for the cookies.
Cookies.
Hey.
You've done
Yeah.
Okay, so
That's the quickest I've ever won.
they were really good when you just bite into it, but then when you bite into it and you get the cheesecake,
I would eat around the cookie, so I just got that middle bite.
And then just all at once.
See, I perfected it after like 4, maybe 5 times.
Yeah, I lost count of how many of those cookies that I ate tonight.
Wow.
Oh, man.
Not even the crescent roll cheesecake won that fast.
no.
Well, that's the funny thing is though you won. This is the second time you've won with a cheesecake related.
Third
thing.
time.
Third time.
The strawberry cheesecake
yeah.
pudding kind of thing won
My
too.
beautiful pumpkin cheesecake lasagna.
Oh, yes.
Ooh.
So
Cheesecake lasagna?
my vote was going to be for the meringue cups.
The meringue cups
Because I love
really
I love
that was
lemon
my
meringue.
second guess. That was my second choice.
That was
meringue
I
cups.
love lemon meringue.
Yeah, those lemon meringue was definitely close second.
Yes.
Well, congratulations to everybody who won extra points.
Your face was like bear finding cheese.
A little shock on your face. It was like,
I have enough to knock up my presents again.
Did anybody up their character sheets before?
No.
I did.
You did?
I did. I upped my persuasion.
so far, I've been able to up something. One of my
And willpower.
Major attributes?
almost every session.
So if I up my presents, it'll put my presents at 5D, charm at 7D, my persuasion at 7D.
So you're a cheat.
As a player, as not Julian, but as a player, I have a goal to get my elemental persuasion up to 10D, so I can drop a fate point on it and roll 20D of damage to an elemental.
Nice.
So Julian will be the elemental 20D damage guy.
I should boost my perception now.
All right, folks. Thank you so much for listening. We had a real blast today. It was a bit of a roller coaster ride,
Oh yeah, it was, but fun.
and God only knows what's happening up in that temple with the eagles.
Oh, there's
The
just a
Eagles.
cheese fountain. That's all there is.
Cheese fountain.
We get up there and
That's
Bear's just
awesome.
swimming.
Oh, did you like the before we go? Did you like that the androids had chlorophyll based skin?
Yes.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
cool.
Yes.
That was cool.
As soon as you said it was green, I was thinking about that. I forget where I just saw something. I heard something else about the same idea recently. Like,
I've seen it before in other sci-fi.
yeah. Oh, really?
Well, those masters.
Those masters. They're my progeny.
Huh?
They spread through space. They did.
They
I
did.
did.
No, we already said we're not lynch pinching.
Spinning them together.
No. This is a standalone universe. This is not Angel's Guard.
Oh, this is the universe where the French flu came from. The black hole. The French flu is actually the root virus.
Oh dear God. Actually, that is
No.
no, not saying that. But playing during a pandemic and having like quarantine.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was.
Well, it's not only that. Editing the episodes that we recorded even before pandemic was not a thought in anybody's minds, and there was some in there where we're like, "Oh, we got to quarantine. We got to make sure no one leaves." And I'm like,
Well, it just goes to
caused
show
this.
that.
We cost.
not only do we know what's going to happen as popular in the world of entertainment, we know what's going to happen
In the real world.
So I was going to.
So we are really
We've
throwing
reached
bones
reality TV.
yeah, to figure out the future.
All right, folks. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great night. Thank you for listening to Bone Throwers Theater. Our cast is Aaron, Ellie, Jeff, Jeremy, Johnny, and Jordan. We are releasing this podcast under a Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, No Derivatives 3.0 Unported license. That means you can share the podcast, but please do not modify it or try to gain financially from it. If you would like to visit our website, you can do so at bonethrowerstheater.com. If you would like to send us an email, you can do so at bonethrowerstheater@gmail.com. Our Twitter handle is bonethrowerstheater. You can also look us up on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And until next time, may the bones fall ever in your favor. This has been a Nerd Circle podcast production.